So awesome, because we are actually going to start talking about putting into action your weekly plan, right? That's what the 12-week year is about. And we're halfway through the week, and it's an opportunity for us to kind of gauge where we are in our business. And so before we get started, by a show of hands, good morning to all of you. By a show of hands, how many of you have had the opportunity to read chapters 4, 5, and 6? Raise your hand for me if you have. All right, fantastic. I'm so glad that you did. So in chapters 4, 5, and 6, if you haven't had the opportunity to read it, I would certainly get back to it and read it, because 4, 5, and 6 is the meat of this coaching, guys. It is the meat of this coaching. So here's the question I have for you. We are on the 27th of January. So we are a third of the way through your year. And if you remember, if you did not read it, let me read this, what the author says about the 12-week year. Throw out the annual plan. For the 12-week year to be effective, we're not talking about quarterly planning, okay? We're not talking about quarterly planning. So what I mean by that is when I said take your year-long goal and divide it into fourths, it's not for the way that the author is saying, and this is not me, this is the author saying this. So, take it or leave it depending upon how you feel about this book. What he's saying is that quarterly planning is an outdated, annualized thinking model. It's an outdated, annualized thinking model. So if you're still thinking about your year in quarters and that you'll just catch up next quarter, what he's saying by this book is that is outdated thinking. Every single 12 weeks, whether you start that 12 weeks today or whether you started back in January, it's a 12-week year. That was my aha from this. So for example, it totally blew me away last night, because I'm actually reading this book with you guys. Remember I said I had a goal of reading this book, 100 books a year. So I'm reading it with you. And so when I went through this, I said, you know what? I got it all wrong. It's not taking the year and dividing it by 12. It's literally saying, over the next 12 weeks, what is my goal? Okay, so if I'm selling real estate, and I'm not, but 18 months ago, I was in the process of selling real estate and taking listings. So if I said to myself, okay, right now, what do I want to achieve in the next 12 weeks? What's my number? What's my goal? What's my volume goal? What do I want to achieve in the next 12 weeks? If I were to start right now today, what is that? And there is no time to catch up later. Because basically what this author is saying, which completely blew my mind, and it's a completely different way of thinking, and whether you agree or disagree, that's totally your opinion, right? Because every book we read is going to have different models in it. But to subscribe to this author's productivity plan, he's saying that every 12 weeks you treat it like October, November, and December. Every single 12 weeks. There is no catch up. There is no catch up later. And so when I said that about taking your year and dividing it into fourths, really what this author's saying is that even if you start today, what would be your goal for the next 12 weeks? So let's think about that for a minute. Let's think about that differently, because now I've got to rewind a couple of things, and I'm okay being wrong, because that's what we're all here to do, is learn. So if you were to say, okay, today's January 27th. For the ease of purpose, February 1st is when? Is that Monday? Is that Monday? February 1st is Monday? Okay. So let's say, for example, you guys were to start a 12-week year starting Monday, February 1st. You have 12 weeks in that year, and that's all you get. You don't get a chance to make up for it next quarter. You don't get a chance to make up for it down the line. Your entire year is 12 weeks. So I want you to get into this different headspace. That means that every week is a what? If you read this book, if you read these chapters, every week is what? Say that, Diane. Unmute yourself.
Every week is one day. Every week is one day. Right?
No, every week is a
month. That's right. Every week is a month. Every day is a week. Sorry.
Every day is a week. Okay? So every week is a month. Every day is a week. And all you get are these 12 weeks. Does that take this book to a next level? It did in my thinking. It blew my mind. And I said, okay, but here's the good news. Here's the good news that I love about this is if I reformulate and retool right now and I say, okay, the next 12 weeks, every week is a month, every week is a month, every day is a week, then I can, if January didn't go the way I wanted it to, now I get a chance for it to happen, right? I get a chance for it to happen. All right. So let's talk about this for a minute. So let's say we start February 1st is our new year. We're going to start there. All right. February 1st is our new year. I'm just going to get you to go through this activity with me. How many of you right now, if we go back for a minute and you look at January, how many of you did not achieve what you were hoping for in January? Raise your hand. If you did not. Me either. It was a bust. I'm going to tell you, it was a big fat bust. Okay, I'm just being real with you guys. And I'm done with it. I'm starting over. It's a bust. But guess what? We get the chance to begin again. All right, so here's what I'd like for you to do. Hold this up if you've got the book. If you've got the book. Okay, if you don't have the book, then have a notebook or something that you start using today, because here's what we're going to do. We are really going to drill down on this on a daily basis for the next few days that we're staying in this book. And then even when we move on to another book, we're still going to keep coming back to this. So in the 12-week year, if you were to say starting February 1, for my next 12 weeks, what is my goal? Think about that for a minute. What is your goal? Is it a volume goal? Is it a transaction goal? Is it, do you have a weight loss goal? What is your goal? And if it's too much for you to jump on this and do this right now, then just write down the questions and then go back and think about it. But what is the goal? That the next 12 weeks is my year. It's my whole year. So what is my goal? Okay. Morgan, I'll let you write down the answers for both of us. All right. So what is my goal? Terry said his cap resets February 1st. His goal would be to cap in 12 weeks. Perfect. So thank you, Terry, for sharing that. So let's get that more clarified. If your goal is to cap in 12 weeks, what's that volume? What's that closed volume number? You don't have to announce it, but whatever it is, you have to announce it. Get more specific. What's that closed volume number? All right, then what you're going to do from there as we go through this 12-week process, we're going to say, okay, what is that number that we want to achieve? And if every week is a month, then what do we want to achieve in that week, that month, to hit our 12-week year goal? So let's make this easy. Let's say the goal is, and I'm just making it easy because I'm not good at math. Well, I'm not going to say that. I'm really good at math when I have a calculator. Let's put it that way. I'm really good at math when I have a calculator. So we're going to go to Zach, 1 second for me. So we're going to say, okay, our 12-week year, let's say it's 12 million. We're going to divide that by 12 weeks. That means we close or put pending or however you want to track this, 1 million a week. 1 million a week if it's 12 million. I'm just doing it for easy math. You guys get it? And then you're going to take that 1 week and you're going to take those 7 days or 5 days or however you want to do that week and understand Monday through Friday actually is your week of the month, right? So what activities will you do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so that you are pending 1 million a week? Does that make sense? And you have no option to put it off to tomorrow. You have no option to do it next quarter because there is no next quarter. This year is all you get. So when the author went to Confronting the Truth on chapter 6, this is where it hit me. And he said, here's the thing. You are going to, it takes courage to use this method, because at the end of every day, you're going to go back and look at the activities that you did to reach your 12-week goal for that week, and you are going to give yourself a rating on how well you did. And he says here that if your rating is at 85% or above, you're going to sail through the goal. But if it's below that, then you've got to make some changes. And he said what happens here is that 60% of the time, the breakdown occurs in the execution process. 60% of the time, a breakdown occurs in the execution process. And then what happens is instead of sticking with the plan and executing the plan at the highest level, we want to change the plan. How many have been there? I have. Like if I looked at myself in the mirror and I say, Becky, did you do that plan for a solid week at an 85% or better execution? If I say no, then I haven't earned the right to change the plan. And this is where the breakdown happens. This was such a aha for me last night. And I said to myself, you know what? The things that I want for my family and the things that I want for myself are rising and falling daily on this plan. Now, I don't know if that's true for you, but I know for me, I can say I don't have enough time. I can say things are getting in the way. I can say all of that. But the reality is at the end of the day, I chose not to work my plan, and I chose not to sit down at the end of the day and see whether or not I had executed my plan. And I don't know about you guys, but that's not good for, that's unacceptable to me. So this was such a great 3 chapters for me personally as a person and for my family and what I want to do for my family, because I was like, wow, here is a roadmap for me to kickstart my year, for me to say, okay, these are the actions that are needed. At the end of the day, rate myself on how I perform those actions and then make adjustments the next day to increase that. That is such high personal accountability. It's like when you're working out, like Karen Wilkinson, she's got on, I know a lot of you work out, but I like watching Karen because her stories are funny when she's working out at her gym. And it's kind of like you measure yourself at the end, right? How do we measure ourselves? We measure ourselves through, how well we did and then how much weight we lose and all of those different things. So here's what I want you to write down that's going to be important in this. And then I'm going to get to Zach's point. You have lead indicators and lag indicators. Write this down. Lead indicators and lag indicators. What is the lag indicator? It's different than the lead indicator.
Hey, Becky, it's Kim. So I think there are a few lag indicators, but one would be income.
Yes, exactly, Kim. Income. If you're trying to lose weight, it would be the scale, right? If you're trying to build muscle and reduce body fat, it would be your body fat meter. It's the results. Kim is exactly right. Lag indicators are the results. So what are the lead indicators?
The activities.
The activities. And so often, this book is so right. So often we focus on the lag indicator and we do not measure, we measure the lag indicator, but we don't measure the lead indicator. So we measure the number of closings we have, we measure the number of pendings we have, we measure the amount of commission we've earned. And yet, if we've exceeded or not exceeded or succeeded our goal, we don't measure the actions that we took. So whether you're above your plan right now or you're behind your plan, have you measured your lead indicators? Because your lead indicators are the exact representation of the execution to exact on your goal. It's that simple. And so what this 12-week year is going to do is it's going to really force us to get highly focused and at 10x action on our lead indicators to get our lag result, which is our goal for our 12-week year. Okay, Zach, go. Thank you for letting me finish my thought. I appreciate you.
No, you answered it because you were talking before about going after the closings for the month, and I think we can't really control. And you already answered it. We can't control when they close. We can just control the activity that puts them under contract. So I mean, yeah. So you answered it by, yeah, you already answered it.
100%. So what I love about what Zach just asked is he clarified is that it's not the closing, guys. There are things that are out of your control. The closing is the lag indicator is the money in the bank. All you can control is the activities you do every day to get the homes pending and the activities you do every day to get the listings. So let's say, for example, in this market right now, how many of you are running into multiple offers? How many of you are not getting pendings because of multiple offers? Because you're not winning, may not be winning the deal, right? And is that within your control? No, you can only advise your client. If they won't listen, but what is within your control? What is within your control? The expectations and the information you provide to your buyer to make sure they truly understand what's going on in Naples today. So yesterday on the business meeting, we showed you graphs, very simple graphs that you can educate your client on to make sure that they truly understand on a molecular level what they're going to need to do to win in a multiple offer environment. The next action you can take is to identify the motivation of that client. On a scale of 1 to 10, Mr. Client, if you do not win this home on a scale of 1 to 10, 1, I'm fine with it. 10, I'll be devastated. Where are you? I'm a 6. Okay, great. You're not going to win this home. You're not going to win this offer. Just go ahead and tell them. You can control those activities, the time that you're spending getting deals done. You can control those things because it's your time. And then that will have a certain output. Does that make sense? Who's got some ahas here as it pertains to your own business? I'd love to hear it. Who's got some ahas? Business, workout, plan, weight loss, whatever it is. Jordis.
Yeah. Well, you remember our conversation yesterday. Becky and I had a conversation about, because we went through the exercise of what we got pending and what we got closing for this quarter. And I'm behind. I'm at 0% when it comes to what's closing in Q1. Yeah, my pendings are a lot better. And like Zach said, I can't control when they're going to close and what's happening. And, you know, I've been losing a ton of multiple offers lately. I believe I finally got one in last night, verbal confirmation, waiting for the executed contract this morning. And that's really all I'm doing mentally to stay focused and not chase a squirrel, is just making sure, am I doing the right activities every day? Am I, you know, educating my customers, like you say, correctly? And I think also for me, one thing that last year and like right now is showing up for me is how I manage my finances. Because as I told Becky yesterday, I can always go 6-7 months, whatever, having to worry about a closing, because I set myself up for that. So that way I can really focus on representing my clients to the best of my abilities and not be chasing a commission.
Yeah, Jordis, I love what you just said, because the thing about it is we have to focus on the activities that we're doing. Now, the next step of that would be for Jordis, and he's probably way ahead of me and already doing this because Jordis knows his business, is that if you are doing all of your activities at the highest level every single day, and if you get to the end of your day and you can score yourself an 85 or above on your ability or your execution of that activity, and that's not working, then it may be time to look at the plan, right? Then it may be time to look at the plan and say, okay, do I need a different plan here? Right? And I don't know that Jordis is at that point, but this is what the author says. The author says, if you have a goal and you're doing the activities at an 85% output or above every single day, and you're not at the goal, then it may be time to consider tweaking the plan, but only then. So, some folks when I coach some folks, they say, oh, well, this is not working for me. I'm going to change. I need to do something different. Right. And I say to them, okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being 100%, 0 being 0% of a 5-day work week, what is the percentage of time that you are executing at a high level on those activities? And literally, if it's anything under 90%, you should not be changing the plan. You should not be changing the plan. Yes, Kim.
I totally agree with that. And the other thing that really resonated with me is that the author said something along the lines of, there will always be way more opportunities than you can effectively succeed at. And so we know in real estate, we talk all about lead gen. Well, what does lead gen mean? It could be like 20 different things. And so focusing on the 1 to 3 critical activities and executing on those 85% or more of the time is really the key. So it's not only the execution, but making sure you're executing on the right activities.
Absolutely. Kim, I'm so glad you said that. And if you guys were not on our business meeting yesterday, if you did not have an opportunity to be on that, go back and listen. I talked about that specifically, right? I said every single one of the things that Gary Keller said on Life, and it was about database. We focused on database because yesterday I said on our business meeting, I said I was going to teach you guys how to get more listings. Well, guess what I talked about? If you were on there, you heard it. Database, because database is how you get more listings. It's the listings that no one's competing for. So I'm not going to go back and do that database conversation again, but please, our business meeting, Deanna, is our business meeting the recording on our KW private Facebook page? Okay, our database recording is on our private Facebook page. If you want to go there, you can fast forward to the section that I did on listings. And I talked about this, that there are 20 or more different ways to lead generate. But with most top agents, there are 3 ways. 3 ways. And this is not just me saying this. This was Gary Keller, Monica Reynolds, Jay Papasan, and Jason Abrams, the 4 top leading thought real estate thinkers in our industry on an execution level. Monica Reynolds runs our Keller Williams coaching program. There are 3 main lead generating activities that top agents focus on. It's their top 3. And for the vast majority of our agents, the top one is the one that provides them 60% of their business. And for most top agents, it's their database. It's their database. Now, again, database has its own definition, and I'm not going to go into all that, and we'll do a database coaching at some point in the future because it's my favorite coaching to do. And yet, what Kim is saying is whatever lead gen is for you, you do that every single day. So here's what we're going to do. All right. On my Limitless Coaching page. Do all of you have access to my Facebook page, Limitless Coaching? I am going to, at some point today, and look for the notification, be loading up some documents that have to do with this 12-week year and going through that process. So if you are really excited like me to get a redo and a refresh, we're going to start Monday morning on our 12-week year. And it doesn't mean that we're not going to move off this book for 12 weeks. That's not the case. We're going to get through this book and we're going to move on to another one. But on the first 5 to 7 minutes of every one of our Limitless Coaching, we are going to ask everyone where, ahas, what you want to go through, different things like that. Yes. Royal Coast, Catherine just reminded us, guys, Nico Paredes went from $7-8 million in 2019. He had kind of been stuck between 4 and 6 and 8 for a couple of years. During COVID, he made a firm decision. He put a line in the sand to double down on his database. And he finished the year at 16 million. And it all came from his database, all of it. No cold calling, none of that. It was relationships, referrals and relationships from his database. And that includes Keller Williams agents. Okay. He has a class today from 1 to 1:30 on getting leads from your database. He's going to tell you how he did it. And he'll hang around after 1:30 for questions. That is on our Keller Williams Naples calendar. Please, be on that if you can. So we're going to finish this up here, and I want to talk about one last thing. So I'm going to put those documents up. Please go get them. One last thing here. All of us from time to time will struggle to execute, every single one of us. The 12-week year system forces you to confront your lack of execution, and it's going to make you uncomfortable. Now, I want you to write this down. We call this discomfort productive tension. Write it down. Productive tension. Many of us misname this and call this overwhelm. We misname this and call this stress. I would ask you to remove stress and overwhelm out of your vocabulary and replace it with productive tension. Productive tension is the uncomfortable feeling you get when you're not doing the things you know you need to do. Productive tension is the feeling you get when you're not doing the things you know you need to do. And the easy way out of this productive tension is to stop using the system that you're using, turn off the light that's shining on your performance breakdown, and walk away and just say, I'm overwhelmed. No, it's productive tension because the execution that you're not performing at on a daily basis is showing up. I get this all the time, and I misname it. I call it overwhelm. And I go into Adrian and I'll say, gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. And Adrian will say, well, what are your activities? He takes me right back around to it. What are your activities? What were your activities, your 20% activities that you were going to do today that you didn't do? That's usually the reason I'm in overwhelm. So it's productive tension. So use productive tension as a catalyst for change. The way that you do this is when we get off this call, write down your 20% activities you're going to do today. I'm going to do I'm giving you an example, 2 Facebook posts. I'm going to do the DTD2 plan from Bold and call my database and ask on my database, who was on my business plan clinic yesterday or my business meeting yesterday when the question that you ask is to your referral, who do you know that's looking to what? Buy or sell or invest in real estate. Buy, sell or invest in real estate. And then at the end of the day, I want you to give yourself a score on how well you did on that plan. And if your score is anything below an 85%, I want you to tweak it for tomorrow. Don't let yourself off the hook. And I'd love for us to show up tomorrow. I'm going to show up tomorrow and be vulnerable with you guys about where I landed. It may not be 85%. I'm going to be vulnerable and show you where I landed. And I'd love to hear from you guys as well. Catherine, yes.
I was just thinking of something. I know that during Bold, we did the DTD2s and we changed it to the DTD4s to make sure we get everything done that we're supposed to. So I kind of just challenged myself. I'll let James know when he's done with his meeting that I think that's what we have to do in order to get to our goal to where we want to do. And I just kind of throwing it out there.
Okay,
That
that's
might be
awesome.
something that people will look at and consider when they're doing their database. If that's our database and that's what we're trying to work on, maybe increasing the activity that we're doing within our database.
I love
know
that,
that's what I'm
Catherine.
going to do now.
I love that, Catherine. And go to Nico's class today, and then we're going to talk about. I'm going to ask you about how that went tomorrow. Since you've been courageous enough to let me know what you're going to be focusing on. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm over time here. I'm 3 minutes over. So I'm going to finish up here real quick. I'm going to be posting these documents on Limitless Coaching today. This is not a requirement, guys, for Limitless Coaching. You get to choose or choose not. It's up to you. If you've got a system that's working right now and you are performing at the nth level in every category, keep doing what you're doing. And yet, if you're not, you might consider, let's go on this journey together. So I'm going to post those today for you. Now, the next chapter that we're going to focus on, first of all, we're going to get on the call tomorrow. We're going to spend the first 5 to 7 minutes on these documents and talking about what you will need to focus on with these documents and how to create that 12-week plan. I'd like for you to read chapter 7, which is around intentionality, and chapter 8, which is accountability as ownership. Intentionality and accountability as ownership. That's chapters 7 and 8. And if you did not read 4, 5, and 6, these chapters are so short. I don't know if you've got them on Audible, like they're less than like 6 minutes. I mean, they're so short. Please go back and read 5, 6, and 7. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited about the reset button that I'm going to get to hit at the end of this month, so that I can focus on my 12-week goal and my vision that I have for my family of what we want to achieve in our lives. And I pray that you all have spent some time thinking about your vision. You've got it clearly written down. It's one that inspires you and motivates you and gets you to do the things that you don't want to do every single day, because it starts with vision. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Have a great day.